From Haranir highlights to Night Elf nightlights to the dark secrets that lie in between. Today we're taking a look at a Kaldori home that has it all. This is Fayola on plot number 10. And the outside features that classic Night Elf aesthetic all around us. To the left we find a cozy tree and water fountain, while to the right we find another cozy tarp with another bed inside alongside a telescope to look out among the stars. In between, directly to the right of the home, we've got some perfectly inlaid stairs that happen to lead to a lovely dining nook, a small area to enjoy your morning coffee, nighttime wine, or morning wine and nighttime wine. This is normally the part where I ask you to subscribe and tell you how to submit your home, but this time I've got to let you know I did get sick during the recording, and so some parts like this one are gonna sound a little bit different. And on the inside, man, this thing is gorgeous. I'm loving the Night Elf aesthetic windows here with the golden sunbeams coming through. But this isn't just about the big picture, but also the tiny details everywhere. This custom moonwell in the middle with this modified bird statue keeping it safe. In the corner we find a place to put down our bags and put on some cute little plushy slippers. While coming to the right of the room, we end up in this gorgeous nature walkway all the way to the top. The glowing waterfalls on the side, little seating areas all the way around the centerpiece here to sit back and relax, different places for windows, foliage, lighting to come through. The ambiance here is excellent, and more than that, there are hidden features all around us. Including, by the way, the hidden faces of both Illyria and Xal'atath somewhere in this home. As an added challenge, I won't point them out to you, but I do promise that both are featured somewhere in the footage. At the very top, we find one of my favorite features in any home, a telescope that looks out across the night sky. This night sky completely unique from the others we've seen before, those dark sparkles from the priest item coming in through the top. The catwalk here overlooks the main entryway down below, and it gives us another view of those very unique custom windows along the side. At the other end of the hall, we find ourselves in a room that gives us a sneak preview of the kitchen down below that we're saving for last for pretty good reasons. From here, we get a close look at the awesome custom chandelier that hangs down below, the chains holding it to the ceiling and the foliage disguising where all of these different items meld together. And if it's even possible, coming through the curtain at the end leads us to an even more breathtaking cavernous path with a custom waterfall that is completely different from the one we saw before and a unique approach to the decor layout here. I love how the creator has made use of the darkness of this room to accentuate their different lighting elements along the sides and even down below to highlight our little plushies hiding behind the curtain. That appreciation extends to the vanity off to the side here, with the dark purples as the perfect lighting for getting ready to go out and bask in a loon's moonlight. All of this culminates in what looks to be one of the most relaxing hot tubs I have ever seen. The steam rising up, the candles off to the side, you could lay back and spend hours pruning in this thing. And if all of that didn't already cue you in, coming through the final curtain on the side here shows us that yes, this is in fact the bedroom, and yes, the bed itself is similarly just as cozy, warm, and inviting as the rest of the home. But get ready for a change of pace, because coming out of the bedroom and looking to the right, we find ourselves in a gorgeous, bright, grassy tunnel, those new Haranir items livening up the place all around us. And lucky for us, this hallway does what a hallway do, leads us to another room. At the bottom of the stairs to the right, we find what looks to be another bedroom. Maybe this is the guest bedroom. Perhaps the Night Elf has adopted themselves a little plant-based friend. And speaking of little friends, if we were to come out past the bedroom, past the little washroom in the corner here, and begin to climb the stairs, we find halfway up there's a secret crevice that hides a bunch of riches and what I am told is Greg the accountant doing his Greg the accountant duties. Climbing upward further still, we find not Greg the accountant not performing Greg the accountant duties, while at the very top we are met with this breathtaking Haranir room. I love the way that they have blended the blues and oranges of the different lights all throughout this room. The glowing mushroom in particular is such a beautiful addition, and underneath we can see those little eggs we get from the current tier raid that blend perfectly with the mushroom itself. But of course I did promise dark secrets, and here is where we find them. Coming past the mushroom and looking directly into this specific part on the rock, hitting the interact key gives us a view into a secret occult room. And here we can see the innocent night elf that lives in this home ain't so innocent. The occult highlights provide such a stark contrast to the tranquility of the rest of the home. And before you think they're into it just for the aesthetic, if we were to turn around, we find that they have gone much farther than creating a simple shrine in the back rooms. And I love the storytelling that we get from just a handful of items. A night elf ritually sacrificed while still writing their final words. The blood itself collected, different machinations all across the edges. We get the feeling that the night elf living here is no longer satisfied by the light of a loon and instead seeks a different type of power. And if you think that's beautiful, well then get ready, because it only gets more beautiful from here. Coming back to that catwalk from before and instead taking the path in the middle, we find not only these elegant, well-placed doors that have been dyed to match the rest of the aesthetic, but through those doors we find ourselves in a large, opulent study. While you might think the dark purple light would make it hard to read, you have to remember that night elves actually can't read. They keep books around because it makes them seem smart. Through the bookshelves and looking to the right, we find ourselves in this absolutely incredible nighttime room. And the vibes here are immaculate. The ambiance, the glowing dark purples all around us, the particle effects, the stars in the night sky, the naturalistic items all across the outer perimeter. All of it culminating in the perfect place to sit back and pretend to read. I gotta say that this is one of those rooms that video just does not do justice. The feeling of being in here, walking around, viewing the area around us is absolutely immaculate. But of course, everything so far has only been from the right of the entryway. If we were to instead take the left, we find ourselves in a kitchen that is just as gorgeous and detailed as the rest of the home. I'm a huge fan of the custom chandelier up above made from the night elf lampposts, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention the cute stove cooking area off to the left and the pristine, well-made kitchenette on the side, containing everything from cabinets to a textured wall to even plates and cups that have just been washed in the sink. But it's coming to the secret bookshelf door where we see why I saved this room for last, because coming through we find ourselves in this mesmerizing, starry tunnel that leads to a portal which opens up into a beautiful daylight pairing to that nighttime room we saw before. And this is yet another one of those rooms where everything is perfect down to the smallest detail. For example, that even the hot tub is naturalistic, fed water by a Haranir flower fountain. Coming past the not an accountant, not accounting, we find different plants growing all around us, and when we look a little further, we can see why. This daylight room doubles as an apothecary, a place for the night elf to engage in all of their not-so-pleasant experimentation. I love, once again, the contrast between the beauty of this room and the implied ugliness of the boiling green liquid we see being created. The room itself is surrounded by a running spring, and if we were to come to the middle, we find two little plushies on a gorgeous flower swing and what looks to be a custom-made basketball below a hoop. And we end our tour by climbing the flower-laden stairs up to one last cozy, warm, and inviting place to sit back and enjoy the luxury and master craftsmanship that is Feola's home on plot number 10.